The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Okay, welcome to the Village of Wapner Falls monthly regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees. Today's Wednesday, April 10th. Can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, clerk.
Okay, we have anything under recognition announcements from the board or special events?
Anything? No? Nope.
Okay. Roll call. Mayor Huber.
Present.
Trustee Nicholas.
Here.
Trustee Tilisak.
Here.
Trustee Mash.
Here.
Trustee Marshall.
Here.
Trustee Ruffin.
Here.
Trustee Smith.
Here.
Village Attorney Lindars.
Here.
Action on minutes. Regular village board meeting March 13th. Second village board meeting March 27th. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 1724 of 2024, resolution appointing a police commissioner. of the Village of Wappingers Falls Police Department. Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Get the-
second it.
Can we
All
get
in
the commissioner-
favor?
Can we get the commissioner's name?
It's on the resolution, Mayor.
Resolution?
It's,
Mark Lieberman.
right. Who seconded it? Jeff Smith?
Yep.
All in favor?
Carried.
Roll call?
Resolution number 1824, 2024. Resolution adopting fee schedules for various village departments. Can I have a motion?
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion for the fee schedule.
Who's that?
Mike.
Didn't do a roll call.
Can I have a second? Who?
Bobby.
Opposed?
Accept all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Carried.
Accept resignation of Police Officer Hippel effective March 22nd, 24.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Who is that?
I'll
Second.
second it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We're tabling those.
Next one is approve the mayor to sign DPW units
We're tabling.
ratified MOA is table. Can I have a motion to table that?
I will make the motion to table this item.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The next one is mayor to approve the MOA, supplemental MOA for CSEA administrative unit. Can we have a motion to table that?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Oh, was that Walt Marsh?
Yep.
Okay. We have financial housekeeping from the treasurer and myself. A motion to move 158.5K from the water fund to the general fund to cover the portion of the water department's employees and retirees' health insurance and deductible charges from years 22, 23, and the first quarter of 23 as due to form. Can I have a motion?
That should be first quarter of 24, I believe.
I'll check with her.
Is there a motion?
I'll give the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
A motion to move 14.7K from the water fund to the general fund to cover the portion of the water department gas usage from years 22, 23, due to and due from. Can I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I am receipt of communication from Village Attorney Atkinson that
Engineer.
our village engineer approving the hookup for sewer for 2544 South Avenue. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Mayor, that concludes the agenda.
Anything from the board? Public? Brian? Yep, please come up.
How's it going? Brian Zickafoose here, local artist and muralist. Here representing Art Day in the Village. This is our third year. We're returning. Similar format as before. The date is May 18th, rain date May 19th, same as the Festival of the Arts. Similar format. We have pop-ups throughout the village. The thing that's new this year, the mural that we worked on last year, we're going to install it and have a mural dedication ceremony that day at 1 p.m. Cool.
So we'll bring this to our workshop meeting and we'll get back to you for approval.
Okay.
All right, so we'll give this to the clerk so we can put that for the minutes. All right, Brian, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, I have one for the workshop too.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Keith Byron. I represent the PBA, Wappingers Falls. I'm here at the behest of the PBA.
Thank you.
It is my understanding that this evening you have made an appointment to the title of police commissioner. And in reviewing the information that I have, I just wanted to make sure that the village was aware that the Dutchess County Human Resource Department, which is the local municipal civil service agency that has jurisdiction over all government employees, all of them, has developed a class specification for the title of police commissioner. A copy of that can be obtained if you want from the Dutchess County website. The police commissioner title, which is applicable for all villages in Dutchess County, has a qualification list, which is mandatory. These class specifications have been adopted by the local municipal civil service agency, excuse me, and has what I would describe as the force and effect of law. So no municipality may hire somebody unless a title is created for that person, or if that person fits into an existing title. And no one can be hired if they don't meet the minimum qualifications for that. So, I mean, I know your local law or your code does not contain such minimum qualifications, and I don't know that any candidate that you have approved or you've considered approving does not meet those standards, because I have not conducted an independent investigation into that, nor am I empowered to do so. But I would just alert you that appointing and paying people who don't meet the minimum qualifications of the class specifications could potentially result in personal liability for the board members, since the payroll, I'm sure you know this, but the payroll has to be certified to Dutchess County, and that certification is an oath affirming that the individuals who are employed meet those minimum qualifications, are working under appropriate title. So with that, I would just urge that you discuss this matter at length, assuming you have not already done so, with Labor Council. You know, if you do not have Labor Council, I would urge someone to contact the Dutchess County Personnel Department or Department of Human Resources and discuss it with them. I did have an opportunity to speak with the personnel tech who handles you today, and just confirmed that the class specification is indeed applicable to you. So hopefully, I would hope that the qualifications of your candidate meet the minimum qualifications. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've seen it on the web for civil service. If you have anything pertaining to this, could you forward it to me?
I mean, I have a copy I print. I'll just hand it to you, make copies of it.
Yeah, I got copies on my phone that I pulled up from civil service.
So, again, I want to be very clear. My position on this is I can't tell you whether or not your candidate meets that. You are now your appointed commissioner,
Yeah.
meets that qualification. I don't know. You know, I've been told that perhaps he does not, but I would think an inquiry should be made to determine the qualifications and the minimum qualifications compared to the class specification.
I've seen this on here, and it's either between us as a board appointing, and then you guys getting involved.
So it's kind of kept it, like, I seen it on the website where it's Wappinger's commission. And then they have other, like, dispatchers, then they have everybody. So I followed it all down and I have all the prints and copies for the board. So,
Okay, and, you know, if you believe so, I just,
I just want to make them aware of what's going on.
okay, thank you.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Anybody else? Can you come up to the mic, please?
No. Okay,
Donna Chase, I just want to know who you appointed.
Mark Lieberman is our commissioner.
Okay, because it's not on here.
Not on? All right.
No.
It's on the website.
I don't go on the website. I want to talk in person to people. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Anybody else?
Okay, we have a motion.
Real quick.
Doug?
Trent.
Trent? I deal with him more often.
Yeah, Trent Atkinson, 27 Hillside Avenue. I know you don't want to discuss anything about the budget. This isn't really the budget. This is something else that's been brought up. For those that aren't aware, this has been brought up to the board twice already, and they've kicked this down the road. The Village of Wappingers Falls, as well as the Village of Fishkill and many other municipalities, work on a two-tier system for taxation. All right, there's homestead versus non-homestead. Is everyone aware of that?
Yeah.
No? Okay, all right. You are now. So, commercial versus residential is usually how people feel that it's broken down, but it's similar to the STAR exemption, right? So if it's not your primary residence, if you don't live there, you do not get that homestead exemption. We have about 300 properties in the Village of Wappingers Falls that are miscoded. How do we fix this?
I'll feel that. So actually, that came up at Monday. You brought that up
Yeah,
at Monday's water board meeting. Today I had the opportunity to speak with Rebecca Rosito. She's at the New York State Conference of Mayors, and they provide legal advice. She emailed me. It's Village Assessment Status Law, Section 1402 for New York State villages. The law, and I actually disseminated that to all the board members, to our village attorney and lenders, and to the water board members, actually. That came through today. Nope, that came to you, +9.
And the law concurred with that, I assume, because that's the New York State law.
That's
It says it has to be owner
For
occupied.
villages, yeah.
Correct.
So the other thing I read about was, it's interesting because the law reads, any village, except a village located in 2 or more towns, that would be us, having different taxable status dates. I don't know how different taxable status dates would work. You probably need to be in like 2 different states or something.
Right.
May enact a local law subject to permissive referendum as provided in Article 9 of the village law, providing that the village shall cease to be an assessing unit and that the village taxes shall therefore be levied on a copy of the part of the town assessment roll, or if the village be located in a county having the power to assess real property with the county assessment roll. So we can...
We did that already.
We did that already.
That's why we have homestead versus
The
non-homestead.
question is now become, can we undo that? Can we repeal
No, you wouldn't
a
need to
law?
undo it. All you need to do is to give the list of all the ones that you feel should be considered non-homestead to the tax assessor for the town of Wappinger, to the tax assessor for the town of Poughkeepsie, and just have them flip it.
So-
Anybody has a concern, you have a board, right, a grievance board, then they
Why-
come in and have a
why-
discussion.
If they disagree, they would grieve.
Yeah, it's an overnight fix.
While you
I've-
were at the water board meeting on Monday, I had the option of attending the water board meeting or going to the town of Poughkeepsie and meeting Maura, the assistant assessor, and Ms. Edwards, who's now the town supervisor in Poughkeepsie. So I took the opportunity to go meet with them in the town, and we started the dialogue about that. So in lieu of like having an assessor in the village, which would again cost us more money, we're already working on that with the town.
Yeah, it's a two-part step, right? So the first step is immediately just you have the directive, right? You have the directive to give them this and say, we want these switched immediately.
Right,
That's
but
step
what
one.
if-
You can
what
do
if
that
we
in 2
don't
months. The
receive revenue?
long-term assessment, right, for next year and everything else, yeah, if you choose to use the town of Poughkeepsie assessor or the town of Wappinger assessor, it is an absolute mess. I've been doing real estate for 18 years. I've been doing land surveying, land development. There's nowhere I've ever seen the assessments more messed up than the Village of Wappingers Falls. There are houses side by side of one another, identical, that are $300,000 difference in assessment. Literally, they're all over the place. You guys probably, if you go on, you can see them, right? So a full assessment absolutely needs to be done. And I'll give you, here's an example of that homestead versus non-homestead. I didn't want to single out any individual, so what I did do was, there was one company, Tower Duchess, okay? Wendless Terrace, Stewart Ave, everyone familiar with it? Know where it is? Yep. One company owns 51 units in there. They are all considered homestead. They are a corporation in New Jersey. All right? Just flipping those alone is $50,000 a year. Right there. There's over 300 to 400 of them in the village. Right? Yeah. So if it's going to cost a little bit of money to do a study just to highlight all of these, go through the tax rolls, like I just spent like a couple hours on it and, came up with $50,000, so.
Also, didn't the water board recommend you to take this on?
No.
Not me. Just full disclosure, my brother is the village engineer.
Okay.
So they were going to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was the one that, asked them because hypothetically in other towns that I have properties in, my garbage, my water, my sewer, because I don't live there and I rent those properties out, they're basically considered a commercial property, right? So I have to pay the higher rate on everything, which is fine. Look at rents. Rent's through the roof right now, right? So you're missing out on a sizable portion of that tax revenue that you should have anyway. It's not targeting anybody. It's something they've gotten away with for a very long time.
As a member of the Finance Committee, I will provide the community follow-ups on how this discussions with the assessors go.
Okay.
So, but we may need to take another action.
Correct, yeah. We're definitely working on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is just money that's sitting there.
Yeah, just sitting there.
So,
Especially if we're missing all this.
yeah, for years, right? It might have been $500,000 for the last 15 years. So it's a lot of money that accumulates. Yeah.
Thanks, Trent.
Thanks,
Thank you, Trent.
Thank you very much to our attention.
Brooke?
Hi, I'm Brooke Youngworth. I've met some of you. I was your labor counsel. I'm not currently. I did wonder if the board would indulge me and take me into executive session at the end before you conclude the meeting, just for one matter.
Sure. Thank you. Mike?
Mike Hendrick, 5 West Academy Street, Village of Wappingers. I just have a question for anybody on the board, with the exception of Mr. Karch. What is the real reason that you did not reappoint Commissioner Italiano to the commissioner's position?
The reason would be is the board wanted a different commissioner, and they just didn't want Paul anymore.
Because you didn't want him?
They didn't want him.
We finally get a commissioner in here that knows what he's doing. He's been a lifelong resident of the Village of Wappingers. He's got unbelievable amount of experience in the field of law enforcement. And because you don't want him here is your excuse for not reappointing him? Is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
The board wanted to go and with another commissioner. That's what they were looking to do.
We wanted to go another route.
Did,
Okay, you got it.
I know the last time I was here and I started asking questions, I got cut off. So I just want to know that I'm assured that the reason why you got rid of somebody who was the best commissioner we've had here since I can remember is because you didn't want him anymore. But there was nothing else that influenced that decision. You just flat out didn't want him anymore.
The board didn't want him anymore.
The fact that Trustee Marshall, one of his campaign promises was to get rid of Commissioner Italiano once he got elected, that didn't have anything to do with it.
No.
And other statements, inflammatory statements towards the commissioner by Trustee Marshall, like he turned the place into one police plaza, he's got to go, I can't stand him. He did not influence any one of you people to make that final decision. Your final decision is, we just don't want him anymore.
No.
Because that's not a legitimate answer.
Okay.
for what he did. No, you were supposed to call me back yesterday, you never did, so shut up.
Oh.
Excuse me. No, you will behave in a civil manner in this board.
I am.
Do not tell people to shut up. That is not acceptable.
I'll do
All right. We're getting out of hand.
Point of order, Mayor, I have the floor.
Yes, sir, you do. And I will trust you to behave civilly.
He interrupted me, so I just gave it right back to him.
All right.
So back to the basic question was,
Can I
is
ask?
that a reasonable reason why you wanted to get rid of the commissioner? Is it because you didn't want him
The
anymore?
board was looking for another trustee when they came on. It brought to my attention, and they found it, they are not a trustee, but a commissioner.
This gentleman on the end had to say had nothing to do to influence your decisions.
Well,
Is that correct?
may I speak now?
It had nothing.
That's all I have to
do
say.
with
Thank
my-
you.
Hey, first place,
Stop.
What a guy.
Mr. Philcheck?
that's just his decision.
I'd like to make the board aware that based on my 3 years on the Wappingers Board of Education, we never discussed an individual in open session, ever. Not even to provide compliments. This is against, sorry. We never yesterday I was in a place where they said, bring it closer. We never discussed an individual by name or in any identifiable manner, and that is based on state law. The vote of a person's employment status is done in executive session. And I am assuming that if you are following state law, that it is a majority vote on personnel matters, not just one person. To discuss the reasons why a single person did not keep his job publicly sets a precedent that people in here may want to consider in case somebody they know or love gets fired for some reason that they may not be aware of. This is just a matter of what law is. Thank you. Hi, my name is Rosemary Vance. I live on Dutchess Avenue, the Village. I just have a couple of things I wanted to say. I've worked for a police department for 30 years as a civilian. I just don't know whether or not you guys understand how important it is to have the backing of the department. And this has nothing to do with who may be replacing him. Absolutely nothing to do with that. What it has to do with for me is the fact that I don't understand, and again, I'm not asking a question, I'm just saying how I feel about it. I don't understand why it seems like you're trying to fix something that's not broke. That's just my opinion on it. The second thing I wanted to say is that there was an article in the Mid-Hudson News that I'm sure you guys are all aware of, naming a person as trustee here using some pretty unbelievable language that, in my opinion, is below the dignity of someone who represents this village. And I hope that that matter is going to be addressed. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Excuse me for a second before you leave.
Oh,
Oh, see, there you go again, right there with that kind
Mr.
of.
Ferry?
Be a lady.
Mayor, the board made a decision to replace the police commissioner. That's your prerogative. That's within the board's power. It's already been made, so why are you putting yourself forward for this abuse? You made the decision, and the PBA attorney made a good point that you better look at that job title and the description of the job, because there may be a problem with that. But other than that, the decision's made. Let's move on to taking care of the budget and taking care of the finances of the village.
We're working on that vigorously. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Anybody else?
Let's move on.
Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Can I have a motion to bring Ms. Brooke in with us?
I'll make that motion.
Item.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Brooke, you are officially in.
The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return. The board has entered executive session. Please stand by. The meeting will resume when they return.
Can I get a motion to come out of executive session?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Who's taking
You are.
You are.
Great.
Okay, so we, back in the executive session, we were talking to legal counsel. We're going to rescind the commissioner's appointment until our next meeting. So can I get a motion on rescinding the commissioners?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I need another motion to make Commissioner Taliano still a holdover until our next meeting. Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
All in favor?
Second it.
Second.
All right. Done.